Every year around this time, people start taking a closer look at their Medicare Advantage plans. They compare premiums, check their doctor networks, maybe even glance at the new benefits being offered. But most people overlook one of the most important numbers in the entire plan: the out-of-pocket maximum. And in 2026, that number might be the difference between feeling financially secure, or suddenly wondering how your medical bills got so high. Hey everyone, welcome back to CareWise. Before we dive in, take a second, comment your name and state below. I'd love to see who's watching and benefiting from these videos. It's always incredible to see how many of you from different states are learning, preparing, and making smarter Medicare decisions. Now, let's get real for a moment. Medicare Advantage plans have always had an out-of-pocket limit, the maximum amount you'll pay for covered services before your plan starts covering 100% of the costs. In 2026, that number is changing, and not in the way most people expect. For years, that limit has crept up slowly, often just a few $100s at a time. But next year, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, is increasing that cap again, and depending on your plan, your out-of-pocket limit could be thousands higher than it was just 2 years ago. And if you've got chronic health conditions or frequent hospital visits, that's something you can't afford to ignore. I want you to imagine this: you're sitting at your doctor's office in March, thinking you're covered because you chose a $0 premium plan. You pay your copay, maybe $25 here, $50 there. A specialist visit, a test, another follow-up. Before you know it, you've spent over $2,000 and the year isn't even halfway done. That's how it begins. And when people finally hit that out-of-pocket ceiling, sometimes $8,000, $9,000, or even $10,000, it's a shock. Here's what's happening in 2026. CMS has approved a higher out-of-pocket maximum for all Medicare Advantage plans, and while that might sound like just another number, it's what's behind it that matters. Inflation, rising hospital costs, and tighter reimbursements to doctors are all being pushed down to the plan level. So, insurers are adjusting by quietly increasing your exposure, your out-of-pocket limit. Now, not every plan is bad news. Some will keep limits lower to stay competitive. But those lower limit plans often trade off other benefits, like dental, vision, or prescription perks. It's all a balance, and unless you understand that balance, you could pick a plan that looks great on the surface but ends up draining your savings later. I recently talked to a couple from Arizona, John and Marla. Both retired teachers. They told me how they switched from original Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan in 2023 to save on premiums. At first, it seemed like the right move. But after Marla needed physical therapy sessions following surgery, the copays added up fast. She hit her plan's out-of-pocket limit halfway through the year. They told me they felt blindsided. "We thought we'd hit maybe $2,000 or $3,000 total," they said. Not nearly $9,000. And that's the reality for so many people. They don't realize these limits can vary widely depending on where you live and which plan you choose. For example, in Texas and Florida, some HMO plans have 2026 out-of-pocket limits around $7,550. But PPOs in those same states can go up to $10,000 or more. The thing is, that number is your safety net, your financial guardrail. When you cross that limit, yes, your plan covers 100%, but think about how much it takes to even get there. The truth is, most seniors never hit the maximum, but those who do are usually the ones who can least afford it, those managing diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. That's why 2026 is such an important year to pay attention. This isn't just about premiums going up or benefits changing. It's about your potential maximum risk. If you think of your plan as a bucket, the out-of-pocket limit is the point where it overflows, and that overflow can wreck your budget if you're not prepared. Now, here's something most people miss: out-of-pocket limits don't include prescription drugs under Part D. So even if you hit your Advantage plan's limit, you could still be paying hundreds, even thousands, for medications. That's especially true in 2026, as new drug pricing reforms roll in. So when you're comparing plans this fall, don't just look at the premium and say, "It's $0, I'm good." You have to ask, what's my worst-case scenario? And this is where strategy comes in. For example, if you're healthy, rarely see the doctor, and don't take many prescriptions, a plan with a higher out-of-pocket limit but richer perks, like dental or fitness benefits, might make sense. But if you have multiple specialists or expensive treatments, you're better off choosing a plan with a lower out-of-pocket max, even if the premium is slightly higher. Let's take a real example. Suppose one plan has a $0 premium but an $8,850 out-of-pocket limit, while another plan costs $45 a month but caps you at $4,900. If you end up in the hospital once, or need imaging or therapies, that extra premium could easily save you thousands in the long run. I think of out-of-pocket limits like insurance within your insurance. You don't buy it for when things go well, you buy it for when life throws you a curveball. Now, some of you watching might be wondering, does Original Medicare have a limit like this? And the short answer is, no, it doesn't. With Original Medicare, there's no true out-of-pocket maximum. That's why so many people pair it with a Medigap supplement plan, which caps your costs by covering the leftover 20% that Medicare doesn't. But Medigap comes with monthly premiums, and for some, that steady payment is a burden. That's the trade-off that makes Medicare Advantage appealing. It's simpler, feels modern, often includes dental, vision, gym memberships, even groceries. But the trade-off is that you're agreeing to a limit, a ceiling that can rise year after year. Now let's talk about what CMS allows. In 2026, the maximum out-of-pocket limit, MOP, for in-network services will rise again. It's projected around $8,850. For combined in-network and out-of-network services, like PPOs, the ceiling can reach $13,000. Those are record highs. And while plans can choose to set lower limits, they rarely advertise when they raise them. You have to dig for that number in the Summary of Benefits section, usually buried on page 3 or 4. If you haven't checked that number in your plan yet, do it. It's one of the most important pieces of information about your Medicare Advantage coverage, and most people have no idea what theirs even is. You'd be surprised how many times people message me saying, "I thought I was covered, but my plan stopped paying after $5,000. It's not that it stopped, it just hadn't hit the limit yet. So, what can you do now? First, understand your usage. Think about how often you go to the doctor, what specialists you see, and what hospital you'd want to use if something serious happened. If you know you're a light user, you have flexibility. But if you're managing ongoing health issues, your focus should be minimizing that worst-case limit. Second, look at your plan's out-of-network coverage. PPOs can seem more flexible, but they almost always have higher MOP limits. If you never leave your local area, an HMO might protect you better financially, especially in 2026, as networks continue tightening. And finally, pay attention to how plans market themselves. When you see flashy ads about $0 premiums, dental, and vision, ask yourself, what's the catch? Because that catch is almost always buried in your maximum out-of-pocket risk. This is also a good time to revisit your doctors. Some physicians are starting to step away from certain Medicare Advantage plans because of delayed reimbursements or lower payments. That could mean that even if you pick a low out-of-pocket plan, you might lose access to your preferred providers. So confirm your doctors still accept your plan for 2026. It's one of the simplest but most powerful steps you can take. You know, one of my favorite things about this community, about CareWise, is that so many of you aren't just listening, you're acting. You're reading plan documents, comparing benefits, asking smart questions. That's how you stay ahead. Let me share one more quick story. A viewer from Ohio messaged last month. Her husband had major surgery in 2024 and maxed out their out-of-pocket limit at $9,200. The next year, they changed to a plan with a $5,000 cap, even though it cost them $38 a month. In 2025, her husband had another surgery, and she told me that single choice saved them over $4,000. That's what awareness does. In 2026, the theme is clear: cost protection. Premiums might look small, but total risk is what matters. That's why you need to know your limit before you enroll. If you're watching this and thinking, "I don't even know what my plan's out-of-pocket maximum is," don't worry, most people don't. But make it your homework tonight. Check your plan's summary of benefits, or call your provider. You deserve to know your financial boundaries before the year starts. The truth is, Medicare Advantage isn't going anywhere. It's growing fast, but that growth comes with more fine print and higher exposure. The seniors who will do best in 2026 are the ones who pay attention now. So before you sign up, before you get tempted by all the extra perks, remember this: those benefits are nice, but they're not worth it if one unexpected health event wipes out your savings. Take your time, compare carefully, and always ask, "What's my maximum risk?" because that's the real cost of your plan. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit subscribe and share this video with a friend who's reviewing their coverage for 2026. The more informed we are, the more protected we'll be. And again, don't forget to comment your name and state below. I love seeing where everyone's watching from. Whether you're in Texas, Ohio, Florida, or California, you're part of this CareWise family, and we'll keep walking through these changes together. Because Medicare isn't just about health insurance. It's about peace of mind. And in 2026, that peace starts with knowing your out-of-pocket limit.